gown, Jackaroo Turo here, and this is another video about Australian Aboriginal kinship and specifically social organisation. And in this video I thought I'd start to introduce the subsection system found in northern Australia, in approximately this area, centered around the Northern Territory, but stretching into Western Australia as well as into Queensland. Up until the 1970s, the dominating idea in anthropological literature was that the section system first came about when people in a moiety system decided to split each moiety into two for whatever reason, and that the subsection system came about when people in a section system in the same way split their sections into two each. Well, Patrick McConvell has studied this issue since the 1970s. He has done very careful linguistic analysis, and his suggestion in an article in Oceania in 1985 has since become the dominating idea about how subsections came about. This video, by the way, is based on information from a number of McConvell's articles. So McConvell has suggested that the subsection system was invented in a Western Mindi or Jaminjungan language, spoken in the Northern Territory in an area west of the present-day town of Katherine, which is approximately here. So west of Katherine, when two groups met, two groups that had different section systems. One that had a section system that had come up from this way, the Carriera system, and one that had a section system that had come down from the north. Well, both the section system and the group with the section system came down from the north, as it so happens. And in the subsection system, we have 8 groups that people in society are divided into, and they get these labels in scholarly literature. Marriages take place here, and children move according to the arrows on the sides here. So just as in the section systems, we have what is called patricouples. What does that mean? That means that fathers and their sons and their sons' sons and so on down the male line, they alternate between two sections. So a Panaga man has sons that are Paljiri. His Paljiri sons, in turn, they get sons that are Panaga, and so on. And in the same way, we have 4 patricouples here, which makes sense. In the section system, there are 2 patricouples. Here, there are 4 when there are 8 subsections. And the patricouples are the following ones. Now, I should say that this alignment, when it comes to how children move, this is found in most tribes that have the subsection system, though not in all. But this is the dominant pattern here. So this is the same as in the section system. However, it's much more complicated on the female line. In the section system, we have alternating generations and alternating sections for females. So a Panaga woman gives birth to Karimara children. Her Karimara daughters give birth to Panaga children, and so on. But this is much more complicated here. We have two matrifilial cycles, as they are called, one here and one here. These terms are used in scholarly literature. And if you like, you can pause the video and check the arrows, and you will see that this is correct and that this is correct. So here what happens is that a woman in any given subsection here, she will not have a female descendant that is in the same subsection as her until 4 generations later, is what this means. Yes. However, fairly early on, the subsection names got gender prefixes, ja for male and na for female, giving us 16 different terms. So here we have A1 male, A1 female, and so on. These are the Walbury terms, by the way, which are fairly conservative. In different tribes and different languages in this area, the subsection names have changed more or less over time, but this is fairly conservative. So you can see here that we have ja as the male prefix in 6 cases. In 2 cases it has changed to ju. And we have na as the female prefix in all cases except 1, where it has changed to no. Now, according to McConvell, it is reasonable to think that the Walbury started to use the subsection system around 300 years ago. His hypothesis is that the system was invented 800 to 1,000 years ago, here then in this area. And one of the systems that merged together, as I said, was the Carriera system coming from over here. And McConvell was able to show in very careful linguistic analysis in his 1985 article that 3 of the 4 Carriera section names were taken over and are used in the subsection system, while the 4th one, Porongo, changed on its way from here to up here and was replaced by another name. So the 3 that the subsection system here have in common with the Carriera system are Pananga, very similar to the Carriera system Panaga. This is 1 sound longer. So here I am leaving the gendered prefixes out. So Pananga, we have Kamara, which obviously is related to Karimara. And McConvell writes in the same article that he had heard from one linguist working in this area that there are a few tribes that have the Carriera system here, in which the section Paljiri is actually called Paljari. So these are the 3 terms that were taken over then from the Carriera system and incorporated. And when you see this and this, I'm sure you can imagine that it gets terribly complicated. when it gets this complicated, I'm thinking that perhaps it's time to go sit in a corner somewhere, huddle up, pull a blanket over myself and cry softly. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. Anyway, this gets terribly complicated, all the details of the subsection system. Or perhaps I should say systems, since the system is not identical all over this area. But this will be all for today. I think this is probably enough for today. More details will come in future videos. So, see you later.